It all began with small details, at first imperceptible. A painting slightly crooked above the living room fireplace. The old oak dining chair moved from its place and turned towards the wall, when Marco swore he had left it facing the window the night before. The keys always kept in the kitchen drawer, now mysteriously in the living room drawer. At first, Marco didn't give them much importance, thinking it was simple oversight or memory lapses on his part. But as the days went by, the strange incidents increased disturbingly. Food disappeared from the fridge, despite Marco being sure he hadn't cooked with it. The living room television set at different volumes, much lower or higher than he left it. The curtains completely drawn when he swore he'd left them half open when going to bed. Marco began to feel strange and uncomfortable in his own house, which had been his home for years. He had the disturbing feeling that someone entered and left while he was away, subtly touching things and changing them for a purpose he couldn't grasp. He thoroughly checked all the doors and windows, verified the locks and the security alarm. But everything seemed in order and properly closed. Maybe he was becoming paranoid or his mind was playing tricks. One night, already in bed trying to sleep, he heard strange muffled noises coming from downstairs. The sound of footsteps and a dull thud. Gathering courage, he slowly went down the dark stairs, his heart beating frantically. In the kitchen he found the fridge wide open, with several missing food and drinks. Marco called the police in a panic. The officers searched every corner thoroughly, but found no trace of any intruder. Marco couldn't sleep a wink that night. The next morning, only silence in the house. Nothing seemed out of place nor showed signs of forced entry. Had he imagined it all in paranoia? The strange incidents completely ceased for a whole week, and Marco began to slowly calm down and think the worst had passed. One night, as he quietly watched TV on the living room couch, a shadow quickly crossed behind him, briefly projecting onto the wall. Marco jerked around startled, with his heart racing, but saw nothing and no one behind. The small but disturbing changes signaling someone entered when he was away started again, this time more frequently. Notes with cryptic, confusing messages appeared on his desk when Marco knew he hadn't left them there. Furniture moved, chairs turned, ornaments scattered on the floor. Furtive footsteps upstairs that woke him when silence reigned at night. Lights flickering on their own, light bulbs completely burning out. Marco no longer knew what to think. The police found no evidence of intruders despite his multiple calls. Were these just hallucinations? It got to a point where he could no longer stand being in that house another minute. The terror of feeling an invisible presence stalking him, spying his every move, increasingly took over his mind. One night he awoke with a stark feeling something brush his arm, and saw a chilling black shadow move in the dark corner of the ceiling above his bed. He turned on the bedside lamp, but nothing and no one was there. On the verge of a nervous breakdown, Marco decided to move into a hotel that same week. The first night away from the house he slept relieved, finally feeling safe. This nightmare had finally ended. But then, past midnight, the room's phone rang loudly, rupturing the silence. An eerie whispering voice told him, "No matter where you go or hide, I can find you." Marco felt a chill down his spine and panic took hold of him again. He went into the hallway to call for help. That's when he glimpsed a chilling black shadow sliding down the end of the corridor, approaching. He screamed terrified, but no one came to his aid.